Let's take a look at one of our next drills here. And this drill is really great for young age groupers to really be able to kind of help to feel a little bit of a good timing and connection for freestyle. This isn't a drill we would really recommend for upper level athletes as they're growing in the sport, and they're going to be in a way different spot and should have different points of emphasis. But this one's really good for younger athletes. So this is just going to be catch up with the board, and this does a lot of great things for our athletes. So we're going to start out with a couple things. We're going to have our fins on, and then we're going to have a kickboard here. So we get to work on a lot of great things right here. We get to work on body positioning, overall, the landing position of the stroke, the kick, and also then most importantly, putting this all also together with the breath. There's a lot of moving parts here, and this can be really challenging for younger athletes in the sport here. Okay, so let's go over the kind of some of the key things. We'll start out with the legs like we usually do with the kick. So here we look for toes to be pointed, and which we should have given the fact that we're wearing fins. Now we want just a nice subtle kick with this, nothing too heavy, just to kind of help the athletes feel like they're really moving forward. Remember, we look for that natural bend in the knee, nothing too excessive. So excessive kind of would mean that we are going to be really high out of the water like this, and even what we might even say is also excessive is kind of like this, where you see more leg height coming out of the water and under the water. When our athletes are kicking, we want them to really actually feel like they're going to be having that strong kick downward. So kind of think of them like kicking a ball. Keeping the feet at the surface is also really important. We kind of want to see that turbulence created right there, right here. So white water, boiling water, thunder kick, kind of all those cues really mean the overall the same thing. When we're doing that, then we're doing a great job here of kicking from the hip, utilizing both the hamstring and quadriceps when we're moving through the water right here. All right, so let's take a look. Now with the board, why we like the board. The board really should give good feedback for our athletes. So when they're doing this drill, they land on what would be the top of the shoulder. And here, where would that be? That should be kind of right on the edge of that board if the board is wide enough. Some boards are going to be a little bit potentially thinner, so this might be just kind of something we would want to examine before doing this drill. But we kind of often see that the board will be a good indicator as far as the width. So here we're going to take a stroke, and then again focus on that landing position right on top of the shoulder. Sometimes with athletes, what we see when they do this drill, they really like to kind of come in here with their hands, kind of forming almost a streamline or kind of like a power triangle. We kind of really look for them here to think about landing Superman, position 11. So this will reference some of the earlier drills that we've also done with our stroke. And we just kind of keep repeating the cycle and then take a breath. Now remember, with that breath, we want to really be able to snap that back in. So we kind of see here the timing of that's going to be the head starting to turn, that chin is starting to move kind of as that hand is probably about at that rib cage area. And then we want to be able to take that breath quick and return. So here, with our older athletes, we might actually encourage them at this point with the hand to really get that head down. That's really important and vital, that snap back, that quick breath is really occurring. And then we want to get that head back into position so that way we are really looking at that catch. There's a lot of moving things here going on, and that can be very challenging for swimmers. All right, let's take a look here now at the underwater view. Let's back up just a little bit. There we go. All right, here, just again, we talked a lot about those big things. Kick with those toes pointed. The fins really help us do that. Now, if from here, what we really would look for is that downward kick. We kind of said again that analogy of really feeling like that ball is kicking with your legs. So we should kind of see the feet be a little bit under the body as we're doing it. Not excessive, but just kind of think of like you're kicking a ball. Probably more like a kickball. All right, let's go to the return view, just another kind of perspective of this. So we can kind of see here as that arm is taking in on top of the shoulder, really great right there. Backing up a little bit, nice kick. So just again, remember, see the snapback right here, taking that breath, starting to take that breath as that kind of hand is starting to pass that rib cage. And then really kind of when that hand starts to, again, kind of come into that peripheral vision of the athlete. See kind of how here it's even, and then we're coming together. Now, because of the catch-up drill, the athlete will have the opportunity to kind of reset and watch what's going to go on with this hand. Typically what we would find, and also why this drill is really good, because we see a lot of times with athletes, this arm just kind of collapses and goes straight down. And athletes kind of also sometimes just have to kind of like wiggle that arm just like this in order to feel the pressure of the water, meaning we have really compromised that catch. And really for us, that's the most important thing in how we view the stroke. So we would kind of want to say about right here, the athlete should start returning that head back into the water. So we continue to take a look here, just again, see now here doing a great job of keeping that hand along that shoulder line. You might even kind of encourage those athletes to kind of keep those hands a little bit more here, even on the outside of the board. And we're going to switch here to underwater. Let's take a look what's going on with that catch. Okay, so taking a look here, we like really seeing that round off shape of the catch. We're going to get those fingertips to go down. Now remember, we want to kind of see that power triangle formed here with the shoulders. So here our athlete can really bring in those hands just a little bit closer to the body, actually, it looks like. Going over then to the other side. So just again, remember, watch that we don't want to have too much of a drift out. We want to really focus getting fingertips down. So we set that triangle and kind of see here how we're going a little bit wide. Now, this type of movement we see typically more in breaststroke or butterfly. And freestyle, again, focusing on setting the triangle right here. So actually we could go right there. So here we would like to see everything being brought in. So remember, regardless of the athlete's ability level, there's opportunities to improve. So make sure you keep working with your athletes, giving them really, really good feedback to really help them along their journey. Otherwise, this is a really great drill for younger athletes to help kind of learn that body positioning and seeing all those moving parts that go with freestyle, and that's a lot at times for our younger athletes. So be sure to drop a like and subscribe.